This is Around the Globe with Dr. G. Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you back to Around the Globe with Dr. G. I am delighted to have as a guest of honor today Dr. Lisa Day. She is a doctor of philosophy and you are in academic management. Yeah, what university?
University of Liverpool.
University of Liverpool. Oh, wow. How did you get there? Well, why Liverpool?
Why Liverpool? Well, because I work on the online programs, I can live in St Albans and work in Liverpool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, you could you give us kind of a background? Usually, I don't know, maybe people fall into studying philosophy. Some people, maybe from the very beginning, have an interest in studying philosophy. How was that for you? Was that, an area of study that from the very beginning you said, I want to study philosophy? Or how did that?
No, not really, because say within the management school, philosophy of management doesn't go back much further than 1950. If I'm perfectly honest, it certainly doesn't go back to the Stoics. It does, there's nothing carved in stone about people management, although there are texts like Machiavelli and Sun Tzu and the Art of War, which talk a long way back. So my interest was always in management, how organizations work, how people in organizations work, how to get the best out of them, things like that. And within that, there is a whole philosophy around management, and that was my area of interest.
That's interesting. I never knew that there was actually philosophy relating to management. What are some of the tidbits?
Oh gosh, I suppose in honesty, with management, it's that there is no truth, that everything is contested, that everything is contextual, and that's probably the biggest nugget with management is the answer to any question in a management school, if you're ever asked, is it depends.
Ah, wow.
If you start with it depends, so it depends on who you're managing, it depends on what experiences they've had, but so the whole philosophy of management in a nutshell is it depends.
Wow, it's interesting. It kind of leads me to another question when you said, "Well, there's really no truth. That everything does depend." I recall in the scriptures, Pontius Pilate said, "What is truth? What is truth?" And so, how do you deal? I know that you are a woman of faith. You have a faith background, and before we get into that, how do you deal with as someone that is obviously in the kind of management, in the kind of philosophy of management where really everything depends. How do you deal with that? How does that kind of intersect with your faith, where some things don't depend? It's just this is what it is.
Yeah, I think with my faith, I think it kind of it sits well in a way, because you have the whole sort of academic kind of truth searching, but much of academia is contested and lots of things have changed. And I think there is, when you work in academia, you realize that we know far less than we don't know. So I think in terms of my faith, there is a recognition that whilst many would argue it can never be scientifically proven, yet there are so many things that we don't know. And I don't know, there's an analogy that kind of always gives me more comfort than, say, we found this piece of a cross and we can carbon date it, and therefore we have this evidence. But this analogy with being in the womb. So when you're a baby in the womb, this is your whole world. This is the world. It is the entire universe. And if you were the smartest academic, when Einstein was in the womb, no matter how smart, he could never have known the world that existed beyond. could never have known that at some point he would go down a tunnel and there would be a bright light and he would meet his maker. And yet that's what happens when you're born.
Yeah.
So that sense of there being a world beyond a world, something that no matter how academic we are and how bright we are, we can never understand it, I think is powerful for me in my faith, in the not knowing and the not being able to prove.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So essentially, what you're saying is that you're comfortable with areas of faith that cannot be explained through any scientific data or any kind of logical reasoning.
Yes, because scientists are disputing their own findings all the time. Theories are being overturned. We know this much of this much, and in another 2,000 years, we might know that much. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, even the articles that talk about coffee, for example, I'm sure you've read articles that say, "Oh no, coffee is bad for you," and then a few months later, "Oh yeah, coffee is great for your heart."
Yeah, eggs had a massive crisis. Don't eat eggs. Now eggs are big again. Yeah, eggs will do you great. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Exactly.
Yeah. If your faith was like that, one day you'll be jumping up. The next place you'll be down with the dumps.
And if your faith was dependent on carbon dating, and
Absolutely. That's a great point and analogy. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I want to talk a little bit about your faith in regards to your particular journey of faith. What has that kind of been like thus far for you? What's that journey been like?
Okay, so it started young. I was brought up in the Catholic faith, so a lot of this is down to my parents, and they were keen to do their best, and they would take us. It was in the north of England. It was very what you might call high church. I mean, we're going back to the early 70s, so we're talking a lot of fire and brimstone, a lot of hell and damnation. I once witnessed children who'd come without their parents being asked to leave the mass because they didn't have their head covered.
Really?
So, yes, this is a long time ago, but it was very, very serious. So they would try and find masses that were more engaging for us. And they've talked about different flavours of ice cream and some like the charismatic. For us, we found a church in Sabden in Lancashire, and it was a Latin mass. I mean, who would have thought that a Latin mass would appeal to children? But it was Latin on one side of the missal, and it was English on the other, and we enjoyed the Latin mass. And there was a lovely priest, and he was very kind and friendly. And at the end, my sister and I, we would collect up all the newsletters and the readings from the benches. We'd put them at the back in a little basket, and then we'd go and have a chat with him, and he would share a little pamphlet or something. We'd take it away like a gift. So that upbringing, and then that followed through to confirmation, which so baptism is obviously where your parents are saying they want you to be a member of the Catholic Church. Confirmation is me saying, I'm 13 or 14 and I'm grown up enough to say I want to be a member. And at that point, my faith was really strong. And lots of people, the young people these days, I don't think it is, but it was for me. And I was at a Catholic school where there were nuns. And I had a teacher called Sister Hilary, and she was very influential, to the point where when you're confirmed, you take a confirmation name. And my confirmation name is Hilary. So I would say around 13, 14, that was kind of peak. And then by 17, it all fell off a cliff.
Like most of us do. It's funny. So for you, it was 17. Was there a particular, was it a love interest at 17? Or was it at 17 that kind of had you
Right. Okay.
deviate a little bit?
So I'm going to tell you how it fell off a cliff, and then I'm going to tell you how the love interest brought it back.
Oh,
so
I like that.
There's the teaser. There's the teaser. So I was at a non-Catholic school, but there were 4 or 5 youngsters in sixth form, A level. I don't know, 16, 17, and they were really, really strongly into their faith. so strongly, such absolute firm believers. And this sounds really odd, and it's always been the same for me. I really struggle when I meet people like that
Yeah.
because, you know, I am a doubting Thomas. I couldn't relate to it. And my thought was, if that is what faith is, I don't have it because I don't have that certainty. So it, their fervor and their strong belief, actually, I still see as kind of me thinking, that's not me. I don't have faith. So I went to my parents and I said, you know, I'm 17. I don't believe, or at least I don't feel strongly enough that I believe, and I'm going to stop going to church with you every Sunday now. And bless them, they said, okay, well, you're 17. If that's what you want to do, then they just let me go. Obviously, hoping that it's something. So, so this is 17.
Yeah.
This might be early 17. In the summer, this would be 86.
Okay.
I started dating this chap,
Okay.
and I just started work. Few weeks, few months, couple of weeks after starting dating, I started working, and it was an hour away from where we lived.
Okay.
So I moved an hour away from this chap I was dating, and he would come at the weekends to see me, and he was a good Catholic boy. I can give you a hint of who it might be. He was an altar server. So after a few weeks of him coming, I said to him, "It's Sunday, and when did you go to mass? Because you know I don't go.
Okay.
So when did you go to mass?" And he just said, "Look, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." And I thought, well, I don't mind. I'm not going to church, but I'm not having an altar boy not going to mass on my conscience. So I said to him, I said, look, I'm not believing at the moment, but I will come with you. I will come to church with you and I will stand next to you because, you know, I know what mass is. So that's what I started to do. I went back to church just literally to stand beside him. And lo and behold, it wasn't that long after. It's probably less than a year. So we're in mass in Bedford, which is his hometown, and actually where I went to school as well. And the priest is talking about the Good Shepherd, about never losing a sheep and always bringing them back with this invisible rod. And I just remember thinking, I would really like that. I would really like to come back. I would really like to be called back. And then I'm not sure the point in the mass. I think it must have been the bidding prayers. So up steps this woman to do the bidding prayers. I haven't seen this woman in I don't know how many years, but it's Sister Hilary.
Oh.
It's Sister Hilary, the person whose name I took for confirmation. And I'd always say, with what you might call a God incidence.
Yeah.
You can never prove it. You can always say, well, she's just going to be there. But for me, there couldn't have been a stronger sign. This is the peak moment of my faith. There couldn't have been a stronger sign. So, of course, as you've probably guessed, you know, I did go back. I did marry and have been married to 35 years to the altar boy that I stood next to. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And I've had moments. I've had other moments through 2 or 3 moments where I've really felt that God was there. And unlike a calling where God is asking you to do something, just that sense that you're in the right place, Lisa. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you know, just keep going. So,
Yeah. Yeah, wow, that's a very, very interesting and inspiring story. I mean, wow, what I didn't know that altar boys had such an interesting kind of that's I mean that's the most interesting story I've ever heard in regards to the altar boy and how eventually all that ended up in a marriage that has lasted over 30 something years. Wow, that is so wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Continuing on this journey of faith, I know again, yes, there is a time where we feel that we have a God moment, and God pulls us back. God pulls us to Himself. However, as time goes on, then it seems like, oh, here's another challenge to deal with. Um, uh, have you, since that time that you felt God pulled you back, has there been another moment where you felt, ooh, something else is trying to draw you away, or has it been a steady kind of um, journey from that time on? How's it been for you?
I think it has been quite a steady journey of quiet reassurance. An example I can give you was when I started my PhD, and I began studying at the University of Lancaster. And it was I'd gone up to enroll, and so it's the first time I'd been there. And there was a side of me thinking, what are you doing? This is going to take a lot of years. And is it what you should be doing? Is it the right thing to be doing? Are you going to be able to do it? And I thought, well, I'm here in Lancaster. I'll just go and have a look at the cathedral.
Hmm.
So I walked up to the cathedral, and as I got there, they said, I'm sorry, it's closed to visitors. I thought, this isn't a good sign. And I could see cameras. So I said, well, why is it closed? And they said, oh, we're having a service. The remains of Saint Teresa of Lisieux are coming around the UK. And literally, that was the moment that this really holy relic was arriving at this cathedral. And so I said, well, can I come in?
Yeah.
So I came in, there was this amazing service. And the story of St. Teresa is always about, the little ways of just staying close to God in small ways. And I just came out and I just felt that was God saying to me, you should be here. This is where you should be. I'm with you. We'll see you through this.
Wow. 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 It's you know, in as much as a person may say, I don't feel the presence of God, or I don't know, it's interesting that it appears to me that God is even more eager to kind of reassure you that I'm here. Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
can just plug in, I'm here. And I hear that from your experience with God, which is really, really, I'm sure, reassuring to a lot of people that are hearing this as well. Um, do you know, just off topic, do you know where Judge Fox High School is in Lancaster?
No,
Yeah, yeah.
no.
I asked you. That's where I went to high school.
Oh,
Yeah. So when you mentioned University of Lancaster, I said, I wonder if she knows where Judge Fox High School is. Yeah, I was. Yeah. So anyway, that's a little bit
okay.
off topic, but we continue. Um, you know, life is really interesting. Now you talked about ice cream and different flavors, and of course we have people with different views, different religions. Of course, England as well as other places, even in the U.S., fast becoming places where it's not just perhaps maybe 100 years ago or 200, 300 years ago, most people will claim I'm a Christian. However, we're vastly becoming um, diverse in regards to different cultures, different religions, and things like that. Um, when a person says, what makes you think that your God is the one true God? Um, I don't know. How would you address that question? Because others say, well, why not um, uh, the God of Islam, Allah? Why not Him? What makes you think that your God is the one true God? What would you say to that?
Oh, that's an interesting question, and I think, obviously, when I answer, I'm not answering for the Catholic Church.
Yeah,
I'm answering purely, and I'm not answering as a theologian either. I'm very much answering for myself.
absolutely.
So for myself, I would go back to what I said about how much is unknown.
Hmm.
And I would say, you know, I, I, the God you love, the God I love. I know from the Catholic perspective, they would say this is the one true God, but I think people have a spirituality. They connect with something in all sorts of different ways. Some of them through church, some of them through other means. But for me, I just love anybody I meet who has that love of God and that love of their fellow man, and the things that having that love of God leads you to in terms of the way you live your life. So I don't know. I don't think I don't think it's going to stop anyone getting to heaven or whatever. When we know, when we know what that means, when we leave this womb-like state and enter this place we can't even imagine, that people aren't going to be there because they have a different religion to me. So no, I don't really have an answer that says, oh, this is why why I'm right and everyone else is wrong. No, no.
Yeah, yeah. You can only speak of your own experience with
Yeah,
God
yeah,
and say, yeah, this has been my experience with Him.
yeah.
Final question, Dr. Day. If you were to, you know how when God appeared to Solomon and he says, ask me anything, what do you want? What would you ask? If God says, hey, ask me anything and I will do it, what would be the one thing that you would ask?
So it's this is Aladdin. This is my magic wish, is it?
Yes,
Of God.
yes.
Oh, I just enlighten men's hearts. Enlighten men's hearts. I think controversially, I might actually mean men in that respect, because, and maybe I mean it because of where power resides, and where I'm thinking when I talk about it is peace. It's a planet that's still here because we haven't destroyed it. So yeah, that enlightenment, that ability to see a way forward that's gonna make the world a place that we can all live and prosper in for a long, long time to come.
I like that. And to that, I say a big amen to men and women.
Yes,
But yes, I understand. Thank you so much, Dr. Lisa Day. It's been a pleasure having you on Around the Globe with Dr. G, and certainly appreciate you taking the time as well. Thank you so much. And hopefully, perhaps at a later time, we'll have more things to discuss with you as well.
Oh, that sounds fun. Thank you,
All right,
Dr.
all
G.
right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.